Aloha and welcome to our Word of Life radio program here in wonderful Okinawa, Japan.
We give glory to the
Wow.
Lord.
Wow. Okay. All right. All right. Is anybody wearing one of my T-shirts? Because we sold out. Is anybody wearing "Forgive is the F word"? Anybody out there? We sold out. So now you got to just go to tinaconkin.com. We sold out of books. We sold out of DVDs. Go ahead and take a seat. I was only supposed to be here Wednesday night, and then had some meetings with your leaders here and some of the staff on Thursday, and then I was supposed to go home, and but you guys are just too much. You guys are just too much. So it's been told to me, I say told, not asked. I've been told that I'm moving to Hawaii. And I've been fighting it, but I'm just looking at the beginning of next year. I'm back here at the beginning of February for Valentine's weekend, correct? And then I'm back again with Mary Hudson at the Arise Conference. Now listen to who's going to be there. It's not here. It's in Kona and Maui. They're going to take over the Kona Convention Center. Desiree Ayers is going to be there. And then you're going to put Mary Hudson there. And then you're going to put Pastor Kuna there. And then you're going to put me there. Husbands, if you're married, you got to send your women. You're going to get dynamite women back. These women, when they get together, well, and then we take Lexi with us because Lexi pushes us. Because we start talking and we forget that, we have ministry or we're getting picked up. Like Lexi literally, when we were at another women's conference at Desiree's church, there was Mary and Pastor Kuna and me, and we just lost sense of time. And Lexi goes, hello, as she's pushing Pastor Kuna and myself because we're deep. We can't talk and walk. People think that, women are multitaskers. They're not. When we're talking. And she goes, can't you talk and walk? No, that would be doing two things. We do eye contact when we talk. We got to connect. Guys don't understand that. I try to teach them that, but we know how to do it. So in May, just look it up. Ask Pastor Kuna where she's going in May. We're going to be in Maui and Kona. In February, we're going to be right here with relationships. Now, I want to say something. Nobody knew what I was going to speak on tonight, including me. And then, I said, Lord, I said, what do I start with? So I didn't even ask for the rocks, but they know me enough now that I go nowhere without my rocks. So I guess I'm talking about some rocks, but they brought him, and I thought, that's nice. I guess they really do think I travel with my rocks. And so I'm okay with that. But you guys have no idea that little production they did here with the kids dancing. Where's Bella? I tell you, she's the only person I know on stage, and I just went, wow, she's really serious. This is like awesome. She was just like, she just warmed my heart. Of course, I come from children's ministry. That's my background. So whenever I see kids and youth doing stuff like this, that's where my heart is. So just watching Bella tonight, I could just see my own 11-year-old. I just thought, yes, let's do this. But this is the part that really got me, is that though I didn't know what I was speaking about, because I didn't entitle it, though I didn't know what I was speaking about, I knew my title was Relationship Revolution. So if you believe we need a relationship revolution, I want you to stand right now and raise your hands as high as you can. As high as you can. Did I say as high as you can? Now go even higher. If you're not standing on your tippy toes and going as high as you can, That means you don't believe there's a revolution coming. Whenever somebody says do something, go another 10% above what they've just said. Go higher than you think you can go. And you declare right now, this country, this church, this place is going to receive a revolution like we have never seen before. And we're going to finally be Christ followers. What are Christ followers? What is the, go ahead, you can sit down. What are Christ followers? What's a revolution? A revolution is making a change. What are real Christ followers? Will they know? How can we start this revolution? How did Jesus start the revolution that he started? He started by the greatest need we have today. And that is that we'll love one another so that they can know. As I was thinking about tonight and how I can get to your heart, I was really thinking about what Jesus said when he said, I want all of them. In John 17:21, he said, I want all of them to be one with who? No, not with him, with each other. I want them, let me say it again, I want them, all of them. He's talking about us, all of us, to be one with each other. Just as I am one with you, and you are one with me. Now here's the clincher here. Then the people of where? This world. What people? This world. Will what? Believe that you sent me. When we are one with each other, when we love one another, they will know that Jesus was sent here. You are worth loving is your theme. But how are they going to know they're worth loving? How are they going to know that Jesus died? Not by you telling a story, but by you being one with each other. What has the enemy come against the church with? The destruction of relationships, the offenses in relationships, the selfishness in relationships, the hatred in relationships. What has he attacked in the church? What seeds has he planted in the church? The very seed that would show, then they will believe. Then they will believe when they see that we are one with one another. So instead, he's come into families and begun like a snake to just cause and choke, to give a chokehold with unforgiveness. He chokes you when you have unforgiveness in your heart. He chokes you with secrets. Secrets make you sick, literally, in every way. And so he begins the work amongst us in a very sly way. And he begins to even speak the word into you. Because sometimes, many times, if you'll notice when Jesus was tempted on the mountain, what was he tempted with? The word of God. If you believe, then throw yourself. If you believe, he was quoting the word. And in this day and age, in our relationships, why am I saying that? Because he'll tell us, doesn't God want you to be happy? Don't you deserve to be happy? What about for me to live is Christ, and for me to die is gain? then all of a sudden, my personal happiness isn't that important. How do I prosper in spirit and in soul? For those of you that weren't here above the Wednesday night, I talked about living above the line. I'm not going to repeat that message, but I think it's online. But living above the line is called abundant living. Abundant living consists of peace. That's why he died. But consists of joy. The joy of your salvation gives you strength. It consists of purpose. It consists of dreams. And it consists of us loving one another at any cost. At any cost. That is the requirement. And as I stand here tonight, my heart aches at how many times we get so easily offended because of our own hurt. Or he'll put fear in our heart because of our own hurt. There's something about this world that is missing connection, and this is the worst generation yet for that. And I want to read this article to you. It talks about we live in a community-starved world. Psychiatrist Jean Rosenbaum estimates that loneliness in is America's greatest killer of those who die between the ages of 2 and 37. And that's 94% of the people suffer from chronic alienation. Chronic alienation. It looks like we have all this connection. And yet, nowadays, we're suffering from that. Mother Teresa said that the worst disease in today's world is not leprosy or cancer. It is the feeling of being uncared for, unwanted, of being deserted and alone. Toffler coined the phrase, the plague of loneliness. Also, we are told that there are 52 hotspots of ethnic conflict around the world. The church can have no greater impact today than by modeling true community as God intended. The search for community in our cultures is our culture's deepest longing and Christian faith's greatest promise. We have the promise. We have the answer. We have the medicine. We can actually cause people to, when I walk into this church, I feel the presence. There's a presence, there's a special, always felt it for years that we visited here when we didn't know Pastor Art or Kuna, but every time we came to Hawaii, we always came to church here if we were here over a Sunday. And there was always a special presence of worship here, a culture of worship. And that deep culture of worship that you want here, in this in this revolution, this next generation, God wants a culture of relationship, because that is what the world is dying for. If you'll give them connection, you'll draw them from the kids all the way up to the eldest. Because we're all suffering from the age of 2, they're already feeling alienated. What does that mean? By the age of 2, you've already got them in front of an iPad at the dinner table. By the age of 2, they know how to get around your phones, your smartphones. I know, I have a grandchild. My 3-year-old shows me things on my cell phone. I have no idea what they are, but she knows how to show me. She knows how to get to my pictures. We're already causing them to alienate. We're causing them to go within themselves. We need a revolution. The country of England a few years ago, as they were watching this happen, and because England has smaller homes and they have what they call flats, and they're little apartments, they started doing away with dinner tables. And the actual country, the government, said, we will pay any family that wants to go and buy a dinner table. We will pay for the dinner table. Why? Because people were not, first of all, eating together, or they were sitting at counters where there was no eye contact. There was no conversation. I dare you to walk into any restaurant and watch families eating together and tell me what they're doing. Right. I'm guilty too. But we're alienating another tool that the enemy wants to use in our families. If you love each other, everyone will know. The G12 movement is about creating disciples. How are they going to know you're disciples? Because of your unity, because of the love you have one for another, because of family. But see, if I can for a minute ask for your permission to talk to you about your children, let me show you what I'm going to show you. See, I believe today, I live in Anaheim, very close to Disneyland. And if I could, open my suitcase and show you that I have brought a few hundred magic wands. And if I could make you believe tonight, because I'm so persuasive, that if I gave you this magic wand, you could honestly believe for the very life you would love to have. And I would say, look, I'm going to hand them out at the back. You just collect them. As you walk by me, I'll give you each a magic wand. I won't run out. And as you walk out that door, as long as you hang on to this magic wand, you will have everything you want and then some more, even things you've never thought of. I wish I could make you believe that, and I wish that would work. But I'm here to tell you tonight, God gave you that wand. Because you see, what he gave you was this. He gave you decision. That's your magic wand. With that word that started right from the Garden of Eden, you can decide every day how you're going to live that day. You can decide every day. I'm not talking about your challenges. I'm not talking about your circumstances. I'm not talking about a sick child. I'm not talking about, the circumstances you're living in. Because the circumstances you may not have power over, but you have power over deciding how you're going to feel about those circumstances. The power of decision is going to take you into fear or faith. The power of decision is either going to lock you up or free you up. The power of decision is yours and yours alone. See, I may not be able to change a circumstance, but I can change how I feel about it. I can change how I feel about the offense. See, Pastor Art offended me once. He really did. He offered to take us for lunch and he stood us up. And I have in one of my greatest rocks in life, there's not even a big enough one here, but if I could show you, this is a boulder. I started out in life being rejected. So when people would say something nice and then they took it back, like, I'd like to buy you lunch, can we meet on Friday at noon? And Friday noon comes and he doesn't show. It's like I go straight to my rejection. I guess he was just trying to be nice. you know. And I had to work through that, you know, and then I found out the person who trumped the lunch was, I would have trumped that lunch too. So I had to go to confession. Then I said, well, Lord, I would have done the same. You know, just sorry, if I had a chance to have lunch with that guy and I had a chance to have lunch with that guy, I would have chosen that guy for sure. I would have even stood Pastor Art up for that guy, you know. So, but I wasn't invited to that guy's lunch, you know. So, but you know, in all seriousness, I had to decide, am I going to carry this offense? And why am I offended? Why am I not just accepting that something happened? That his intention wasn't to hurt me. His intention wasn't to, how do you say that, stand us up. Really, something had come up. But see, my natural reaction was to go to my rock of rejection. That was my natural reaction. What's your default? That's what the enemy uses. And then good people, those of you that know Pastor Art and been in their church and Pastor Kuna, you know that his intention was not to reject me. But why did I take it that way? Because that's my default. And I listen to my self-talk. I'm going, really? Now, I could have walked away and just thought, never visiting there again. Instead, I identify. Is this about me? How am I going to take this? And that happens every day in your power of decision. Every day you're making, you have over 30,000 thoughts a day, and you're the actor in most of those thoughts. You're involved in most of those thoughts. And with those thoughts, you're making decisions. Do you know how you're making decisions? Based on what you saw, what you heard, and I told you I was going to talk about you kids, right? And children, and the children in this church, and the children that you impact, even if you don't have children. You have an effect on the people sitting next to you. So how are the children growing up? How did I grow up? How did you grow up? I grew up from what I saw, what I heard, and what I experienced. Experience always trumping what I saw and what I heard. Because when you take an experience and it hits your emotion, it trumps. It becomes truth. It becomes something you live your life by. Even though your logic may say this is not the truth. But if you've had an experience with it, until you undo the experience, until you rewrite the experience, until you renew the experience and identify it as a lie, identify it as not how God sees you. God never saw me as a rejected child. I was wonderfully made. I had to make a contract with myself. When I came to realize who I was in Jesus, and for the longest time, and this was, I was going to say how old I was then and how old I am now. Many years ago, I said, Tina Conkin, you're going to use an I am statement right now. And I want you to say this: I am, or I, and give myself a name. I, Tina Conkin, am a beautiful, special, unique woman, walking in faith, causing others to do the same. That's my identity. Because you see, what I had to fight was the lie that I was ugly. I never looked in a mirror. I had to fight the lie that there was nothing special about me and nobody wanted to be around me. Therefore, they cancel lunches. And thirdly, I definitely was not unique. And so the opposite were the lies. Who's ever going to want to listen to you? And see, unique was the opposite. I'm different. I was bullied because I was different. Because I didn't speak English, they laughed. Now I'm proud. Do you know that besides tongues, I actually fluently speak English, French, and Italian? But there was a time that I hid that because I was so bullied. Now I go all over Europe and I'm going, try that. You try to bargain with that Naples guy for that purse. All of a sudden, everybody, I'm unique. I'm special. Because you see, I can get the best price and I can speak their language. You go there with your American accent, forget it. Forget it. They're selling you Rolex watches at Rolex prices, just about, and they're not real. Okay? But all of a sudden, I had to convince my mind and rewrite who was I in God's sight. The opposite of everything the devil told me I was. If you could make a contract with yourself, what would God give you as 3-4 words of who you are? What words do you battle with? So what happens is, as you're growing up, you begin to wear these glasses. And everybody knows how glasses work. You wear glasses because they help you see. And so as you're wearing these glasses through life and you get them put on you right from the time you're born, why do I say that? Why do I say from the time you're born? Because if you've ever seen a newborn, they pick up your buttons really fast. They'll cry. Nicole, listen to me now. This message is for you. You see, when that baby comes out, it'll give you a sweet little cry. And you're going to pick it up, you know. Well, the next night at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to be so quick, you know. The first week, second week, like you jump up out of bed. Third week, you know, hey, come on. I was just there 2 hours ago, right? That baby is, forget it. That baby is not going to give her that sweet little cry. That baby is going to go for it, man. Now she jumps out of bed because certainly there must be something wrong. Yeah, he's got your number. But see, that baby has suddenly learned something. If I cry, she will show up. If I cry and she doesn't show up, then I cry louder and she'll show up. And if she still doesn't, I'll hold my breath. Come on, any mothers here where you've seen them hold their breath? They're crying so hard. What are they learning? They're learning to control you, is what they're learning. But they found something that works. So no matter what in life, you begin to create filters from what you saw, heard, and experienced right from birth. You know what makes other people move forward. But now, you see, these filters are created. How are they created? From your rocks. See, if somebody had a tone with me that reminded me of my father or my mother, or if somebody looked at me a certain way, I think, are they upset with me? Why? Because somewhere I filtered that tone. My husband used to say, honey, you know, it's not what you said, it's the tone you said it in. Like, can't you just take what I said? Why are we adding tones to it? Because see, growing up, when his dad raised his voice, he experienced anger. I said, I'm not mad. He goes, and why do you have that tone? What tone? From his experience, it wasn't a good tone. I was just trying to get my, point across. I was like that baby. I would just raise the level of the sound. I still wasn't angry. From my growing up years, you see, my dad used to say, a dog that barks doesn't bite. So as long as you're screaming at your kids, they're safe. My mom, on the other hand, if things got quiet, dear God, what was going to happen to us? So that's what I saw, heard, and experienced. So based on what I saw, heard, and experienced, I was a yeller. I was the dog that barked but didn't bite. Well, my husband, when there was yelling in his home, that was not a good thing. In my home, when he entered my home, he goes, "Do you guys understand anything going on here at Sunday lunch?" And the thing that boggled his mind the most was he'd watch this Sunday lunch going on, 3 languages going on, by the way, all at once. And doesn't matter what end of the table you're sitting at, if somebody says something over here that upsets you or you think you should put your 2 cents worth, it came out. How are you in a conversation over here hearing what was going on over there? So our house was always loud. His house, when it was loud, it meant there was anger. It meant somebody was going to get it. So I didn't understand that because our experiences, what we saw, what we heard, and what we experienced were through these filters. What does that mean in relationships today? That means that if you don't know, if you don't reveal, then the enemy can use your experiences against you. Your enemy can say, the tone of your wife there is being very disrespectful. But for me, my house was just loud. And when it wasn't loud, we were in trouble. If we walked into quiet, somebody found out something, and we were about to get it. That means we got caught. That was quiet. 2 different worlds. So to him, I was being disrespectful just because I was loud. What did my son and my daughter, especially my son, experience growing up? Joshua, wake up, honey. It's time to go to school. Josh, come on. You've pushed the snooze button twice. Joshua, get up. Okay, Mom, okay. His wife is still trying to forgive me for that. Because he doesn't hear her until she screams his name, full name, not Josh. He doesn't hear Josh. It has to be Joshua John Conkin. Then he knows we're serious. Right? So if this is what you saw, heard, and experienced, and now you're bringing it into your relationships, but you're not revealing this, then how are we showing? How would Pastor Art have known I'd taken offense? And by the way, the offense lasted about 2 minutes. So I'm doing pretty good. But in the time past, there's been times where I would just keep that offense, and I would just add it to my little hardened heart. And my hardened heart would just cut people off. My hardened heart would withdraw from my husband. How you doing, honey? Fine. Honey, can we talk about this? No, I'm fine. We don't need to talk about it. Honey, things aren't right now. So he kept trying to apologize, kept trying to soften, and kept trying. And I just, no, it's fine. Leave me alone. And then he'd leave me alone. And then I'd flip out. I'd flip out. He said, did you just not tell me to leave you alone? Did you just not tell me there was nothing wrong and you didn't want to talk about it? Really? Really? That's what you heard? No, that's what you said. Oh, there's some elbow ministry going on. Oh, wow. See, this is why when you come to our programs as couples, you don't get to sit together. Oh man, if I could just, you look at it, she's right on top of him going like this. What? Are you defending yourself now? I only saw you. Oh man, you're going to be bruised all along here. Wow, you got some elbow ministry going on here. Pastor Art and Pastor Kuna, make sure there's something between them. They're making sure, man, there's something right between, there's a table between them. Like, seriously. Anyways, buddy, are you listening? Because you're going to be in big trouble tonight. Whatever I just said, you better have got it. Okay, you better got it. Just tell her, I got it, honey. I got it. I heard it. I take it all on. Go ahead. Yeah, there you go. Just, wow. Okay, what was I talking about? Let's get back here. I want you to examine honestly. I really want you to examine. That's what Jesus said, examine your heart. Examine what and where it comes from. Begin to look back and say, what did I see, hear, and experience? And now base it as my foundation of doing relationships. That's why I believe in a relationship revolution. You know what a relationship revolution is going to look like? It means we're going to all walk around with these kind of glasses. Now, Pastor Art, if they all come walking in next week with these kind of glasses, you'll know they got this message. You know why? Because again, I'm going to tell you that's a decision. That's a decision to say, I'm going to take off my old glasses. I'm going to take off the things that I see through. I'm going to take off the glasses that tell me I'm never going to amount to anything. I'm going to take off the glasses that say there's no way out. I'm going to take off the glasses that say I can never be forgiven or restored for this. I'm going to take off the glasses that tell me not to be compassionate. I'm going to take off the glasses that goes into self-protection mode. And so I harden my heart. And I'm going to put brand new glasses on that aren't comfortable. They don't feel right. They kind of stick up. My vision is all off. That's a decision. The very best decision you can make tonight is say, God, help me change my glasses. Help me put these glasses down and take these one off so that I can see my wife through a different perspective. So that I can see my husband from a different perspective. Because from these glasses, maybe I can look from this way down. Instead of looking down at them, look up, get the words, get the experiences. Start seeing through God's eyesight. Start seeing through what He wants you to see, not what the enemy wants you to see. When you feel hurt, ask yourself, is it because of my past? When you feel offended, and the offense keeps reoffending itself. So in other words, it doesn't matter what church you go to, sooner or later you're going to find that offense again. Can you be honest enough to say, is it me? Is it me? See, I want to tell you a story as I introduce my family to you. Can I have the family picture? A story about decision. Since then, I've had a grandson, so the little one there. That was the last family professional photo we took before my husband passed away. December 25th, 2013. So we're coming up 2 years. And that was in October, just a couple months before. Let me tell you about the power of decision. When no one else is with you, when no one else is willing to stand by your side, when, as a matter of fact, all the counsel you're getting is different, though it's right. But God changes your glasses and tells you, look at it through my view. Look at it through my point of view. See, that picture wouldn't have happened if 18 years before that picture was taken, we'd made a different decision. 18 years before that picture was taken, there was infidelity in our marriage. And you see, rightfully so, I could have walked out and nobody would have thought anything wrong of it. But instead, God asked me to put on different glasses that day when the reveal came out. And he said, if you'll put on different glasses, not from the rejection you've experienced from your past, not from the abandonment that you've experienced as a child, not from someone else being chosen over you. If you'll put these glasses on and look purely through my eyesight, you'll see that you'll look through compassion. And then after you look through compassion, those glasses will ask you to be responsible for your part in what went wrong. Because you see, when you choose to marry, you are one. If one falls, you're both part of that fall. Let me tell you who wouldn't be in that picture right now had we made a different decision. That little one, who was 9 years old at the time and is 11 now, she wouldn't be there because she was after healing. She was after the renew. She was 3 months old when she was placed in our arms. A single mom from Iraq who I thought had postpartum actually had post-traumatic disorder and they were going to take her baby away. I didn't know that. I just raised my hand when I heard nobody could take the baby and baby was going to go into foster care. I said, I can be a friend. I thought the mom was just going into the hospital for a couple weeks because of postpartum. We ended up adopting that little girl when she was 3 months old. She's 11 now. She's my lifeline. She wouldn't have been there if we'd made a different decision. The other person that wouldn't be there, so my oldest daughter on the left of her dad, my left, is Jenny. She works with me. She's got the anointing. She's just a powerhouse. And then my son on the other side is Joshua John. And then my daughter-in-law, Mary, and my little granddaughter, Scarlett, and now there's a little other addition, Hudson, who carries his grandfather's name, Ronald Allen Conkin. They wouldn't be there. Why? Because we made a drastic revolution in our marriage when that happened. We said, whatever it takes for God to restore us, we will do it. And so we moved away from all familiarity and we started over with a lot of tears, a lot of challenges. God restored our ministry more than we ever dreamed possible because of a right decision to not look through our hurts, our hang-ups, our pain, our rocks. We decided not to harden our heart. And now I look at my grandchildren, I look at my daughter-in-law, and yeah, he would have found somebody else, but he wouldn't have found her because we moved, because we took a different direction, we put on different glasses. Our set before us, the race set before us was restoration. That was the race set before us. Brand new glasses, not the old way, not the old counsel, but to start at ground zero. There's many of you here tonight that need to start at ground zero, because somewhere you're building a family portrait. Where's your family portrait? Only one more picture was taken, and that was the morning of Christmas morning with all those same people sitting on his bed as he went home to heaven. And I thought, as he thought that day, as we spent our last few hours together, we were together for a full 3 weeks as a family. Lived together, the whole family stayed together for that time, that either God was going to take him or heal him again. He was only supposed to survive 4 months, lived healthy right to the end. We saw God's miracle over and over and over again. That portrait, the last one, we were all sitting on the bed. And I wondered, who would have been here if 18 years prior we had made a different decision? The power of decision is yours. You can either use it for good, you can use it for life, or you can use it for death. The power of decision in your families can be life or death. We are dying of loneliness with homes filled with people. People are dying of loneliness with no family portraits. Tonight I challenge you to take responsibility for every decision you make, to love or not to love, to be kind or show unkindness. Now, hurt people hurt people. And based on that, God has given us the answer, the promise of his blood, the promise of the cross. He died for every single hurt we've ever experienced, for every single rock we carry. But he can't make the decision for you to lay that rock down. And tonight, as the worship team comes back up, I'd like to put this jar of rocks right here at the altar. And if there are rocks in your relationship that have caused, and I'm not talking just to married people here, but if there are rocks in your relationship that have caused hardness of heart, and if you're listening to me live stream, you do this with us. Find anything, if there's a rock in your house, in your garden, identify it and saying, that's it. I'm starting a revolution in my own heart. And it starts with the relationship that I have with myself, with my own heart. I need to reveal that rejection, that anger, that hurt, that hatred, that revengeful spirit, that offensive spirit. Whatever it is, I need to reveal the addictions in my life, what I run to when I can't cope, when I want to forget, when depression hits. Identify it. Because if you reveal it, you're giving God the right to rewrite your story. And your rock will not be the hardness of heart. It'll be your story. And you all have a story of redemption. Tonight's your night to say, I want revolution. I'm going to pick up that rock as a reminder of what I don't have to live with anymore. I don't have to live with this anymore. I want you to feel how hard it is. It doesn't serve you. So if you'll all stand to your feet. It's an old song, it's a hymn. But can we sing it? I surrender all. And as you sing that, if you've never accepted Jesus, I'm just going to ask Pastor to do how they do it here. Then you come, because you're worth loving. You're worth not being lonely. You're worth not carrying the hang-ups and the hurts and the addictions that are in your heart. He died for that. All you have to do is say, I surrender. That's all you have to do. Say, I surrender, Lord, my rocks. I surrender my hardness of heart. I lay it down. I receive Jesus if you've never received Jesus. But if you have hardness of heart tonight, if you're watching me live stream and you have hardness of heart, surrender it. It's not serving you. It's hurting you. I just want to encourage you to come to the front, grab a rock. But I'd like Pastor to come and just do a salvation call first. Can you do that? Pastor Kuna, can you do that? If you've never received Jesus, I want you to come first. This is Him saying you're worth loving. If you never asked Jesus to come into your life, or you've walked away from Him because you've been hurt, then you come. The altars are open. Come now.
I surrender all. I surrender all.
Now I just want to make a call to all those that know you've hardened your heart. Maybe in your relationship, maybe even towards God. But if you know there's a rock you can identify tonight, you come and you take it here and then stand at the altar as we pray. In Jesus' name.
I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior.
Surrender your rock. You go ahead and lift it up and say, Lord, it's yours. Name what it is. If it's rejection or anger, abandonment, whatever it is, you give it a name. And then you ask God as you're standing here, ask Him, what can I trade it for? Can I trade it for peace? Can I trade it for love? But don't keep your hardness of heart tonight.
I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my
Thank you for joining us today. I'm sure you've been blessed. I'd like to share with you just some information of how you can contact Word of Life Christian Center. Again, our pastors are Pastor Art and Kuna Sepulveda. Our church is in Honolulu, Hawaii. Our mailing address is 550 Queen Street, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. If you still use mail, you can go ahead and mail us, but you can also contact us via email. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to share with us, you can email us at wolcc@wolhawaii.com. Again, that's WOLCC, which stands for Word of Life Christian Center, WOLCC@wordoflifehawaii.com. Please email us if you have any questions or if you want to share any testimonies of what God is doing in your life. And we also have a church in Yokohama. If you're ever in Word of Life Yokohama, our pastor there is Pastor Fukiko Matsuzawa, and her phone number, well, let me give you her email. wol.japan@flute.ocn.ne.jp. You can also email Word of Life Yokohama if you're ever going to be in the Tokyo, Yokohama area. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to being with you again next Saturday at 9 a.m. Until then, aloha.
Salvation to the broken and weak. My voice is my light to reach humanity. I wanna reach you.
Aloha and welcome to our Word of Life radio program here in wonderful Okinawa, Japan.
We give glory to the Lord.
Wow. Okay. All right. All right. Is anybody wearing one of my t-shirts? Because we sold out. Is anybody wearing "Forgive is the F word"? Anybody out there? We sold out. So now you got to just go to tinaconkin.com. We sold out of books. We sold out of DVDs. Go ahead and take a seat. I was only supposed to be here Wednesday night, and then had some meetings with your leaders here and some of the staff on Thursday, and then I was supposed to go home, and but you guys are just too much. You guys are just too much. So it's been told to me, I say